morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. How you all doing? And welcome to another episode of Breaking Dawn. I hope everyone's doing good. I hope everyone's doing fine. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon, guys. Here in Italy, Naples, Italy is where I am, guys. Really glad to have you on board. Thank you so much and welcome to Chatterbox, should I say. Chatterbox is what we're here for. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the stream, guys. Please, before I start, don't forget to smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, all that sweet stuff, and also put your notifications on. You know what I mean? Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for being the best community in YouTube. You absolute legends. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the stream, guys. Let's get straight into it now. It has been confirmed that Manchester United are heavily interested, still heavily interested in Carlos Baleba, guys. Are you a Baleba? I think many are still a Baleba. Look, listen, guys, I spoke about it the other day, should I say, that, you know what, we're going to sign Baleba. I said it, I predicted that we're going to sign Baleba. Baleba will be a Man United player. I'm almost certain that Baleba will end up being a Man United player because obviously all the noises surrounding Baleba, the fact that Baleba is desperate to come to Man United is a very, very huge plus, a bit like the Switzerland flag, a huge plus. Of course, guys, there is a huge plus in regards to Baleba coming to Man United. It's just that now we have got confirmation. Manchester United are very, very interested in bringing Carlos Baleba to Manchester United in January, which is absolutely fantastic. If you are Baleba, of course, there are some skepticism, of course, guys, in regards to Baleba and his performances for Brighton and Hove Albion. Of course, he hasn't been quite the player. Of course, this season, his head has been turned and all that jazz, of course, guys. But what we're going to do, guys, we're going to digest this. Should Baleba come to Man United? Man United, of course, Ruben Amorim, Wilcox, Barada, Jim Ratcliffe are still huge admirers of Carlos Baleba, of course. Guys, what do you make of this news? Could Carlos Baleba be a Man United player? I've told you guys. Carlos Baleba, if I had gun to head right now, will be a Manchester United player very, very soon, guys. I'm pretty certain about that because it just seems like it's all going to be matched in. I think I spoke about it. I think it was in September about Carlos Baleba and his entourage meeting up with Man United's entourage in October, the end of October. I said it in September, the end of October, Man United entourage met up with Carlos Baleba's entourage and made an agreement. I do believe there's something in place there. I do believe they've had a gentleman's agreement, whatever it is, a verbal agreement with Carlos Baleba's entourage. Now, the stumbling block, of course, is Brighton and Hove Albion, of course. Are they going to budge on their price? Of course, during the summer, it was 110, 150 million. Nonsense what they were talking about, of course, guys. But obviously, the price is reduced significantly. Of course, it is. You know, I mean, 50-odd million is the price, guys, in regards to Carlos Baleba at the moment. Could Man United do a deal for that about that price? And that is what Man United are looking at the moment. Look, Man United can put a deposit down, like buying a house, isn't it? Can put a deposit down and can acquire Baleba on an installment plan, of course, guys. Credit FC, of course, guys, can bring in Baleba on an installment plan, and that could be beneficial for both Brighton and Hove Albion and Man United. In the long term, Man United will pay more money, but will pay it in installments, and that might interest Brighton and Hove Albion at the moment, guys. But funny enough, it's probably the first time that we've heard from the board that Manchester United want Carlos Baleba. This is important. This is extremely important in regards to that. And I know a lot of people are going to be debating about it, whether we should sign him or shouldn't sign him. Look, I bring it back to the first season of Baleba, and I like to think about Baleba as in the first season when he broke through the scene and absolutely done fantastically well. Man United were actually interested in Baleba when he was playing for Lille. We didn't make the move. Brighton made the move. Brighton took the risk, and there we go, guys. The rest is history at the end of the day. Look, I'm not going to say that Baleba was not going to be the player for Man United. He's not good enough. He's not good enough. Baleba's not good enough. You know what? He hasn't been good this season. I understand that. I agree. He hasn't been good this season. His head has been turned. And this does obviously bring into question his professionalism. But what I would say, and I'm not going to flip-flop from this because I don't flip-flop from things, guys. I don't wear flip-flops. I don't flip-flop from things. But what I would say about Carlos Baleba is this, right? He's 21 years old. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to be, you know what? He's going to make young mistakes. When I was 21 years old, boy, oh boy, I made some big mistakes, guys. You know what? We're not quite, our head quite ain't screwed on properly at that age, guys. Absolutely. We're a bit like an old kitchen sink underneath when you're trying to turn off the water. Our head ain't screwed on properly, guys, at the end of the day when we're 21 years old. So you have to obviously bring into account, obviously, that, you know, the age factor, the 21-year-old thing and things like that. If you're being honest, guys, you have to be real. And you know what? I did question his professionalism, why his head has been turned, you know, etc. But obviously, we have to think of it on a human level as well. And the human level, Carlos Baleba is a human being. And you know what? Funny enough, believe it or not, he's a human being. But funny enough, he makes human mistakes. And to be honest with you, humanly, he wants to come to the Man United at the end of the day. And he would love to come to Man United. And probably they ruined his dream. Brighton and Hove Albion ruined his dream to come to Man United. And basically, he's very upset about that. However, I would say this. No matter what, his agent should have told him if he really, truly wants to move to Manchester United, he should have openly spoke about that during the summer and said that he wants to move to Man United. He wants to leave Brighton and Hove Albion, of course, guys. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? You reap what you sow, as they say, guys. Let me know what your feelings about that. Carlos Baleba, let me know what your feelings. My voice is going. My voice has been going for a while, guys. Some may think that's a good thing, but then again, my voice is going, guys. But thank you so much. Everyone is joining me today, guys. Don't forget to smash a like on the video. I am going straight live after this channel, after this show, guys, to the watch along of Tottenham Hotspur against Crystal Palace, of course, guys. So make sure you join me for that as well, guys. Can't wait to see you there, of course, guys. Let me just read through some of your comments to the absolute legends in the house. Good afternoon, Sanjay. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to the stream, guys. Bots Fan United. I'm totally a Baleba. Big up, Bots Fan United. We're going to be a Baleba, my friend. I think it's brilliant news, Carlos. You're welcome. Big up, Nasser. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. I hear Wharton wants United. What I would say about Adam Wharton is what I clarified earlier this morning is that Adam Wharton gave a gentleman's agreement to Crystal Palace a few months ago in regards to he will not leave in the January window. He will go in the summer. Now, things have changed slightly in regards to Crystal Palace. For whatever reason it is, Adam Wharton is interested in going to Man United, and it's up to Man United if they're going to make the move. Crystal Palace has changed their stance. As things change in football, things change in football, guys. You know, you can make a decision back then that I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm going to wait till the summer. But then you might think, you know what, I want to move to Man United. Things can change. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, that is just life at the end of the day. Form is temporary. Class is permanent. Big up my guy, Nasser. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the stream. I hope everything is blessed with you. Dancing car. Have you ever seen a car dancing? I haven't. What's going on, my friend? I have a question about Baleba mentality. Rest every United fan knows that he is a good player. Anderson more suits us unless he goes to City. Big up dancing car. You know what I would say, dancing car? You know what will complement Carlos Baleba? Anderson. Elliot Anderson will complement Baleba. I think that they complement each other. I think they're two different players. I think Anderson's more of a number 6 kind of player. I think Baleba's more of a number 8 kind of player. I think together we can conquer the world, guys. We can have them together. You never know. We can play both of them. You never know, guys. That would be absolutely fantastic. If Man United managed to get Baleba and Elliot Anderson, that would be absolutely fantastic, wouldn't it, at the end of the day, guys? I would love that. Dearly love that. That'd be brilliant. Man United don't need one midfielder. They need a couple midfielders, guys. They need a couple of midfielders. That's what they need. They don't need one midfielder. They need 2 midfielders, for goodness sake. Crying out loud. Big up. Baleba and Anderson would be brilliant. Baleba and Wharton. Baleba and Yovi Guerra. Baleba and Lamine Kamara. Baleba and Luciano Gume. There you go, guys. I got it here in the end. Big up, Den. What's going on, my friend? I'll be doing there. What have I missed here? Is Baleba signing? Hope you're well, Sal. Big up, Den. What's going on? Now, the biggest thing, Den, is the biggest clarification what's happened today is the fact that Ineos, Wilcox, Omar Barada, all that jazz, They have come in and said, we still want Baleba. We are not interested about anything else. We admire Baleba. Baleba's our guy. That's basically what they've called about. Now, that doesn't mean he's their guy only. There are other guys out there that they want as well in regards to the summer window. There are other guys out there that Manchester United are very interested, of course. So Carlos Baleba is one of them, of course, guys. So Carlos Baleba, Man United. Look, if I was to analyze everything in regards to the transfers that Man United are linked to, if I was to analyze everything, if I was to analyze every single player Man United are linked to, Carlos Baleba seems the most likely, because Carlos Baleba, he seems like, you know, I know he's put up a sulk. He's not playing well because he wants to go to Man United. And look, guys, he loves Man United. What can I say? I think we all love Man United at the end of the day. And I would say bring him in. He loves Man United. Bring him in and let's see how he can do. Let's see if he can make history at Man United at the end of the day, guys. No, football doesn't deal with absolutes. You know what I mean? We have to deal with things on a human level. He's playing for Brighton Hove Albion. For goodness sake, their nickname is the Seagulls, for goodness sake. Why the flipping hell do you want to play for the Seagulls? He wants to go to the bloody Red Devils, for goodness sake. Stick that fork right in the seagull. Of course, guys, no animal cruelty involved here, guys. This is a metaphor, of course, guys. But what I would say is that, yeah, he wants to come to Man United. Let him come to Man United, for crying out loud. And we can move on and look at other targets as well at the end of the day. I'm a Baleba. I always have been. People know that. I've probably put Baleba on my thumbnail more times probably than his bloody lifetime photo album. It's ridiculous how many times I put him on my thumbnail. Absolutely, guys. Absolutely. Saviour, good afternoon, my friend. How are you doing? Well, good to see you. Baleba is coming. Let's act fast to bring him down. Walton, big up, that Saviour, my guy. Hope you're doing well. I will still be happy if we sell Ugarte, though, and bring someone else. I felt Ugarte, look, guys, I'm not going to twist this and stuff. I felt Ugarte did well against, of course, Newcastle United. I felt he did okay. Now, what my biggest problem with Man United in regards to that midfield, I don't think it's Ugarte's fault. I don't think it's Casemiro's fault. I don't think it's Kobe Mainoo's fault. I think the biggest problem with Man United is Bruno Fernandes. And I tell you why. Bruno Fernandes is not a number 8. And I think any player in that midfield that plays in that number 6 role is going to struggle with Bruno Fernandes. I think so, because I feel like Bruno Fernandes is ill-disciplined. Now, a lot of people were saying about the tactics, the formation and stuff like that. I actually believe it's the fact that we had a balanced midfield against Newcastle, and that's why our first half performance was so incredible. And then obviously we had Licha Martinez back in that in that defensive role, and I think that is what really boosted Man United in regards to that. I think that Ugarte is not a bad player, but he needs a partner next to him. Now, during the summer, we had a couple of friendlies where we played Ugarte and Mainoo in the midfield. And I felt like the Ugarte and Mainoo partnership was absolutely incredible. I felt we'd done well. Unfortunately, we moved back to putting Bruno back into that midfield next to, of course, Ugarte or Casemiro. And I just don't think that is the right midfield. You have to look at balance, and I think that is what Man United have been lacking over the last few years, of course, is a little bit of balance, of course. Big up my guy, big up everyone, of course. Losing my voice, guys. Mad, isn't it? We need 2 midfielders, absolutely, Saviour. We do, of course we do. Big up. Hi, Aman. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Agree, Baleba and Anderson working well in that midfield. It would be a great midfield, mate. It would be a great midfield. Wharton and Baleba, Anderson and Baleba, I think it'll be a great midfield. I really do think so. And I think that Man United should just go for it. It's written in the stars, as they say, guys. I do believe it's written in the stars. And I think if we got Baleba, I think it would just be beneficial to our football club. I really do. I think it would be great, of course, guys. Big up, Bobby. What's going on, Bobby? How you doing, my friend? Hello, Sal, and all. Big up yourself. Hope you're doing well. Hope you have a splendid 28th of December. Of course, guys. You know, have you got still some turkey sandwiches left? What's going on, guys? Now, guys, let's get into a bit more transfer news. If you don't mind, Kenan Yildiz. Of course, Kenan Yildiz is a Juventus player, generational player. Now, I've been tracking Kenan Yildiz since he played for Juventus Generation, which is the Juventus youth team. He's been playing for them for a long time. He started off at Juventus, believe it or not. And he has leaped bounds. He has been absolutely fantastic at Juventus. And so much so, he's had interest from major clubs in Europe. Kenan Yildiz has been the subject of interest for Manchester United, and Manchester United could make an approach in the summer. Now, it has been said that Manchester United, over here in Italy, guys, where I am, I'm currently in Naples, where I am, guys. Apparently, Kenan Yildiz would be open to a move to Manchester United, but on one condition. The condition is if Manchester United get into the Champions League. Now, apparently, Kenan Yildiz has a huge affiliation with Manchester United. In fact, he has said that his father is a Manchester United fan, and he wouldn't mind signing for Man United if Man United can manage to get into that Champions League position. Man United over many, many weeks and months have been interested in Kenan Yildiz. He's one of the players on the radar of Man United. Many players we've had. I think we've had over 100 players on that Manchester United radar, of course. So obviously, we are very, very interested and huge admirers of Kenan Yildiz. But many teams are going to be huge admirers of Kenan Yildiz, including Liverpool, including Chelsea, including Arsenal. Huge fans of Kenan Yildiz. And the fact that Kenan Yildiz can play in a multiple array of positions is a huge plus in regards to who we're going to sign, because these are the type of players that Man United are looking at the moment. They're looking at players that can play in various positions: left wing, right wing, number 10 and number 6, guys. You know what I mean? That's what Man United are looking at the moment. Kenan Yildiz fits the bill. There's not many players out there that I would say that, are generational, right? That I spoke about Keith Smith earlier. And I'm speaking about Kenan Yildiz right now and Rodrigo Mora. These type of players, right, are generational players. Said Al-Marla as well. These type of players are generational players that I feel would be brilliant for Manchester United. I think that, this type of deals that Man United used to do back in the old days, of course, guys, they used to do these type of deals, of course. But Kenan Yildiz to Man United is a possibility. Excuse me, is a possibility, of course, guys. Absolutely is. Spot on. Kenan Yildiz, of course, is a Turkish player, Turkish international, and already got caps for Turkey as well. So, you know what? He's just moving leaps and bounds at the moment. I think Man United should go for him, of course. No more series. Big up Dancing Car, my guy. Big up. No more Serie A players, please. Look. What I would say, I wouldn't like to paint everyone with the same brush, my guy, Dancing. At the end of the day, you can tell talent when talent is there. I understand about the Serie A thing. I do understand that. I have banged the drum about the quality in the Serie A is not what it used to be, of course. Serie A during the 90s used to be the best league in the world. But Kenan Yildiz, let me tell you something, he's an absolute world beater. I really do think that. He's an absolute generational player. And if we don't make a move for him, we're going to miss out on a very, very good player. You will see that, guys. You will see that if he goes to any other football club. There's a reason that Kenan is wanted by many of the serious clubs in Europe. There's a reason behind that. He's obviously a fantastic player. And it's obviously many teams admire Kenan Yildiz. And I wouldn't say no to him. Absolutely not. Just go and dip into League One. They have quite a few good players. Absolutely, they do. And the thing about League One, I would say, Dancing Car, is that League One and players from French players generally do well in England, don't they? Slices of Sib, who is saying that? Anderson saying if we can get Champions League, he will come. Basically, this is what it is, right? This is what it is. Man United qualifying for the Champions League in general will be a huge plus for our football club. It'll be a huge plus for our football club. There are many teams, players that will come to Man United if we come to qualify for the Champions League. Man United qualify for the Champions League equates to a powerful Man United. Because at the end of the day, Man United are a massive club. And the biggest pull for players don't think about Man United anymore like that. They think about what's good for me, what's beneficial for me, what's going to be the key for me in regards to this and stuff like that. And basically many players out there, including Kenan Yildiz. Kenan Yildiz wants to wait until Man United are in the Champions League. That's what it is, basically. Not Elliot Anderson. Elliot Anderson is a huge interest for Manchester United. But what Elliot Anderson is, it represents an expensive deal to do. Elliot Anderson could go to Man United in January, but it will cost around 70 to 90 million. Because what Nottingham Forest has said and clarified is that they do not want to sell Elliot Anderson in January. They're in a relegation battle. And also they're in Europe, believe it or not. Nottingham Forest are in Europe and they don't really want to sell their prize asset. Kenan Yildiz wants to wait. Of course, Kenan Yildiz is gaining interest from worldwide teams. Of course, Liverpool are very interested and Arsenal are very interested as well in regards to Kenan Yildiz. And Kenan Yildiz has clarified that he would like to go to Man United, but we have to wait until we get in the Champions League. Let's wait and see what happens in regards to that. Of course, guys, if we get in the Champions League, we're in a good position at the moment. I have no idea who Kenan Yildiz is, Slicer Zip. How can you dare? How can you say you don't know who Kenan Yildiz is? It's not Kenan and Kel. It's not Orange Soda. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, big up. How many price to buy Carlos Baleba? At the moment, Andu, what's going on, my friend? I hope you're doing well. At the moment, Man United have valued Carlos Baleba at around 50 million euros. That is the valuation for Manchester United. However, it does depend on Brighton and Hove Albion. Of course, we remember back in the summer when they slapped up a ridiculous 150 million euros for Carlos Baleba. You remember that? And obviously that stifles Baleba's chances of moving to Man United. Now, that could be a reason, guys, that he's been disgruntled. That could be a reason that he has down-tooled. That could be a reason that he's not performing to the levels that he's performed, because he knows that he has been overpriced, priced out of the market, so to speak, if you know what I mean. And obviously, we know that Carlos Baleba is a fantastic player. I know he's a fantastic player, you know what I mean, at the end of the day. But obviously, if the price is too high, no one is going to go for him. No one is going to sign for him, because at the end of the day, it does all boil down to Brighton. We can agree a fee. We can agree everything with Baleba. We can do everything positive in regards to Carlos Baleba. But if Brighton don't want to budge on their price, we're not moving anywhere. You remember when Mbeumo moved to Man United? You remember how difficult it was, how long it took, because Brentford didn't want to budge on their price? You know what I mean? And we were nitpicking about a couple of million. This is what could happen with Brighton. You know what I mean? Brighton do not want to sell, in particular, to another Premier League club. So that is something that very, very interested indeed, of course, guys. Absolutely. Slicer said, but apparently Anderson is very open for United. Who wouldn't be? Slicer said. But what I would say, Slicer Sib, what I would say is this, right? He would be open to Man City. He will be open to Arsenal. He will be open to Liverpool. He will be open to Chelsea. Of course he would. He's playing for Nottingham Forest. These players don't have an affiliation with any football team. They might have their favourite football team, but they don't have any affiliation with a football team. What matters the most for these players is what Man United can offer them. Now, it's not back in the old days when we had Man United. We're Man United. We can offer you this. We can offer you that. We're Man United, for goodness sake. Those days are long gone, to be honest with you. Those days are long gone, John. You know what I mean? And I would say that more these days, players are more inclined to think about what you can do for me. Help me to help you. Help me to help you, basically. Jerry Maguire, if you all know. And basically, this is what these players do now. So you have to try and persuade them with every single bow, which means Champions League football, European football, Man United, the future, the project of Man United. What can we offer? Who we're going to bring into the football club, you know, and things like that. And I think this is what matters a lot, you know. I do know there's no smoke without fire. I do know that Man United are behind the scenes working on the Anderson deal. I do know they're huge admirers of Anderson. I mean, who wouldn't be huge admirers of Anderson? He's an absolutely fantastic player. Let's wait and see what happens, of course. Big up, Danny B. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Welcome to the stream, my guy. I hope everything is blessed with you. Dancing, so I understand the Wharton will be available if United finish top four. Ruben needs to focus on that. We need Champions League football. It's simple. This absolutely dancing card, this could be the key. This could be the game changer here. Champions League football. When you're on Champions League football, it's not just getting 100 million into the bank. It's basically about other players around Europe or the world, indeed, will say, well, Man United are in the Champions League. I want to play in the Champions League. And as we know, many players want to play in the Champions League. Playing the Champions League is imperative for any player because it's not just about them going to a football club in the Champions League. it opens up the door for many of these players for sponsorship deals and things like that, boot deals, t-shirt deals and stuff like that in regards to the Champions League, right? Advertising deals and things people don't even mention, you know? The Champions League is very attractive. It's not just 100 million that comes in the bank. A lot of players out there, when they're looking at teams, they're going to look at Champions League. First thing they're going to look at is Champions League. Big players I'm talking about. The first thing they're going to look at is Champions League. And they look at their Champions League and think, yeah, Man United, Champions League. Imagine I get Man United to the final of the Champions League. Imagine how much boost that will give me for my PR. Unfortunately, this is just how these footballers think these days. This is how it goes these days with these players. You know what I mean? They are more inclined to think like that. Unfortunately, it is, but it is what it is at the end of the day. Man United and the Champions League will equate to easier transfers coming in, basically. And that's what happened. And whereas we have to, if we don't get in the Champions League, we're going to have to persuade. We're going to have to use the art of persuasion. We're going to have to be, oh, you want to come to Man United? Well, our project is like this. You know what I mean? We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Whereas you're in the Champions League, we're in the Champions League. Listen, we started this football club when they weren't in the Champions League. We came into this football club and they weren't in European football. Now look at us, we're in the Champions League. We have ambitions. We have ambition to be a top European club again. And that could be attractive, of course, to everyone. Good morning, Desmond. What's going on, you legend? How you been? Sorry, losing my voice. Good morning. Good to hear again after a long time. It's good to see you, Desmond. I remember you, Desmond. You were the guy who done all those predictions. I remember you, mate. I remember you from all those predictions ago, and you predicted. I remember you, Desmond. It's good to see you back, my friend. Good to see you. Entitlement FC. Unfortunately, Slices of Sib, what I would say, mate, is that these days, guys, entitlement is part of football. Unfortunately, as much as we don't want it to be a part of football, it is part of football, and entitlement is just what you get at football these days. Rich too soon, pampered too soon. Their agents are run by their brothers and sisters and mothers and whatever all that jazz. And obviously, it spoils them. And it's not like the old days. Of course, I'm sounding like an old fogey, but it's not like the old days, as I say. Of course, it isn't. Of course. Dancing Car. I love that name, by the way. Is 8974 your number plate? Happy that Ruben is adapting, but should have been much earlier. I think pressure came in and play. Look, I don't blame Ruben Amorim, Dancing Car. I'm telling you right now. Ineos brought in a manager with a distinctive style of play. They should have backed him with distinctive style of players. That's what they should have done. Ruben Amorim has come top joint fourth place, right, with Luke Shaw. You know what I mean? With players of that ilk. Luke Shaw, Dallo, Dorgu, and all these players. He's come in the joint top four, and we are in December the 28th. Right, and I think many of us would agree to that. And he done that with a 3-4-2-1. You know, it's nothing to do with the formation. I would clarify. It's nothing to do with formation. It's to do with talent. We played against Newcastle, of course, and we won the game. We won the game because basically we dug in the end. We dug in the end, and we showed character, you know. What I would say is that the biggest plus for Manchester United, especially against Newcastle, is the fact that Bruno weren't playing that midfield. That's one thing. The biggest criticism I can give to Ruben Amorim is Bruno Fernandes in midfield. Bruno Fernandes should be a number 10, or Bruno Fernandes shouldn't be anything at Man United. It's a number 10 or nothing. Do not shoehorn players into certain positions. And that is my biggest bone in regards to that. You know, great players play in any system. Let me tell you that right now. Great players play in any system. And I remember 40 years supporting Man United. I know great players play in any system. You know, Ruben Amorim transcends the system. He changes the system. He's done that from the beginning of the season. He's done that at the beginning of the season. He changed the system. He moved into a 4-4-2. He moved into a 4-3-1, a 4-3-2-1 and stuff like that. He moved into a 4-2-3-1. He's done that many times. And if you watch Manchester City, Pep Guardiola does the same. Pep Guardiola starts with a 4. He moves into a 3. Now, it's not Ruben Amorim's fault that many of these players that we had that have been there for years, by the way, some of them have been there since 2013-14. It's not his fault that they do not have the IQ to do these sort of things. Now, we can have two things. We can either say let's make it easier on the shit players, or let's try and bring in players that can play that system, that have the IQ to play that system, and ultimately Man United being more successful. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Sal, top 5 Champions League, or is it only top 4? It's not clarified, like I said, but at the moment, the way the English teams are performing, it depends on how the English teams perform. The way the English teams are performing at the moment, top 5 could be Champions League football. Absolutely. Top 5 could be Champions League football. I believe from now, Amorim will be flexible with his formation. It's nothing to do with formation, mate. True. This is why Bruno is gone this summer. Absolutely. And look, you know, I believe that Ruben Amorim will stick to his philosophy. He will stick to the 3, and we have to live with that. He's changed it right now because obviously the AFCON is going on right now. We haven't got the players, so he's changed to a more simplified team, of course. Man United played a 3 against Aston Villa and dominated the game against Aston Villa. The problem with Man United is that we're not ruthless. And when the going gets tough, our mentality is a little bit weak. And that's something we have to look at and we have to improve in the future. Absolutely. And that's what I would say. Absolutely. But yeah, look, guys, football doesn't deal with absolutes. There's loads of ins and outs and stuff like that. CP, what's going on, my friend? I'll be doing well. I want to see Mainu and Baleba tag team central midfield partnership. What happens is that I think in regards to tag team, I think that Kobe Mainu needs to untag his brother. If he wants to do anything, needs to untag his brother and get a serious agent in there. Absolutely. But if we make the Champions League, yeah, NASA. But this is what we're talking about, isn't it? This is what we're talking about, cultural problems, problems at Man United that need to be addressed. If Man United truly want to move forward, Man United have got to get rid of players that are fan favourites. They got to make tough decisions. It's exactly that. Man United got to make tough decisions. And removing Bruno would be a tough decision to do, especially, obviously, how popular he is with the Man United fan base and stuff like that. Of course, it's going to be a tough thing to do. But sometimes, guys, to improve the team, you have to remove players that are popular, players that somewhat have great stats. Now, if we go back to the 95-96 season when Man United brought through the class of 92, Paul Ince, right? Mark Hughes, right? Andre Kanchelskis, another one, of course, right? These players had fantastic stats at Man United, right? But they were removed. Why were they removed? Right? Because Man United needed to think forward. And that's what it is at the end of the day. Sometimes stats isn't the best thing. Things shouldn't be dominated by stats. It should be dominated by what's best for the football team, what's best for the balance of the football team, and what's going to long-term bring us forward at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Not just looking at numbers, but looking at balance of the team, structure of the team, and hopefully Man United can move forward from that. And that's what Man United need to do in regards to that. Of course, guys, absolutely. That's what I think about it. Now, guys, in regards to some other news, guys, in regards to transfers, Franco Mastantuano. Now, Franco Mastantuano is a gentleman that I mentioned on the show a couple of times when he was playing for River Plate, guys. Man United were interested in him, but of course, Real Madrid came calling, and you know, with the Latin players, their head turns. When Real Madrid come calling, their head turns. Of course it does. Now, Franco Mastantuano has not been in favour at Real Madrid at the moment. He has found it difficult to break into the Real Madrid team, so to speak. Now, he is available for loan. Franco Mastantuano is available for a loan, and Manchester United have been alerted about this. Bringing in Franco Mastantuano, who again is a very, very capable midfield player, attacking midfield, central midfield player, young, talented, and has a bright future. These are the type of players that Man United are looking at the moment that they can possibly do a short-term deal so that they can help with Man United's squad. Franco Mastantuano, as confirmed by Fabrizio Romano, is available for a loan, and Manchester United are very, very interested in inquiring the services of Franco Mastantuano. Now, I spoke about Endrick only a few weeks ago, and Endrick has ended up at Lyon on loan. Now, I don't think that Endrick going to Man United would have been a bad thing. I think it would have helped with the squad, etc., etc. I think that would have been a good move for Manchester United. However, he's gone to Lyon and the rest is history. Now, Franco Mastantuano is another one that Real Madrid are looking at loaning out. Now, will Man United make a move for Franco Mastantuano? Now, we all know he's talented. We all know he's a future superstar Argentinian player, of course, already in the Argentinian national team, of course. So should Man United do a deal on loan for Franco Mastantuano? What do you guys think about that? There's rumors circulating, especially over here in Italy, that Man United could possibly do a loan deal for Franco Mastantuano. Of course, let's wait and see what happens in regards to that. Now, a little bit of other news in regards to a player who currently plays for Man United is Aiden Heaven. Of course, Aiden Heaven has been absolutely phenomenal this last few weeks. Absolutely generational performances in that centre-back position. Of course, he's only a young lad coming in from Arsenal. I'm sure Arsenal regret that. Of course they do. Aiden Heaven's been fantastic, and he's been one of our shining lights over the last few weeks. A very, 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 very good performances are coming out of Aiden Heaven at the moment. Well beyond these years. Now, Aiden Heaven has committed himself to the England national team. Of course, Ghana were looking at bringing Aiden Heaven into the Ghanaian fold, into the Ghanaian squad. Aiden Heaven has dedicated himself to the English national team. Now, guys, I think it's very, very interesting because I believe if Tuchel has his ear to the ground, if Tuchel is clever enough, he will take Aiden Heaven to the World Cup. I'm telling you guys, left footer, centre back, he should take Aiden Heaven to the World Cup. I think this guy is a generational. I really do think that. And when I'm looking at some of the players that have been picked, Dunk and players like that, do you know what I mean? No disrespect, but they need to bring Aiden Heaven in. And I still believe Kobe Mainoo should be there. But then again, bias intended. But yeah, Aiden Heaven wants to play for England. And I do believe that Tuchel should look at Aiden Heaven. And if he doesn't look at Aiden Heaven, then he hasn't got his ear to the ground. Aiden Heaven's been absolutely phenomenal for Man United in a difficult period. He's been phenomenal for Man United, and I think he would be an absolute game changer for England. Now, that was clarified. That was doubled down when we played Newcastle the other day, and he had an absolutely phenomenal player alongside Licha Martinez, of course. Something very, very interesting in that, guys. He's picked England as his future. Is that a sign that he may be in the England squad for the World Cup? You never know. I think he deserves it, in my opinion. I think Tuchel needs to be a little bit open-minded and look at him, because I honestly believe that Aiden Heaven is going to be one of the best defenders in the world. And no pressure on the lad. I'm not putting any pressure on the lad, but I honestly think he's going to be one of the best defenders in the world. Absolutely, guys. Absolutely, of course. Probably Boxer. Big up Boxer. Hope you're doing well. Andre Kanchelskis would get into the current Manchester United team. Of course they would, Samuel. Yes, Andre Kanchelskis. If Nani was playing right now, Nani would probably be our best winger. And that's what we're talking about at the moment. You know what I mean? Luke Chadwick would get in the Man United side right now. Ben Thornley would probably get in the Man United team right now. You know what I mean? Lee Sharp and Kanchelskis were absolutely phenomenal players for Man United. Very upset when we lost Andre Kanchelskis, of course. Andre Kanchelskis went on to nothing. He went on to Everton and Fiorentina and didn't really do anything. I don't know why he left Man United. I think it was something to do with a contractual situation at the time. But he ended up leaving Man United and obviously didn't reach the heights. And he was at the Man United game the other night against Newcastle. Guys, by the way. And, what I would say is that Andre Kanchelskis, anyone in Leeds Man United, in particular at that period of time, those players that left Man United didn't go on to anything, didn't achieve anything. Look at Lee Sharp. Lee Sharp went to, obviously, he went to Sampdoria, went to Leeds United, of course, and really didn't reach the heights. And it's just the way it is. You know what I mean? It's just the way it is at the end of the day, guys. Absolutely, guys. And but yeah, they would walk into this Man United team 100%, Samuel. Absolutely, yes. Of course they would. Absolute generation player. Bobby, Sal, do you think we'll see the likes of Rashford, Anthony, Sancho, Højlund, etc. this summer, or do you think they'll stay? I'm looking at this, and I think the most likely scenario is that Anthony leaves. Anthony will stay at Betis, in my opinion, eventually. I think they needed another season to raise some funds. I think we've already got that agreed. In regards to Sancho's leaving on the free transfer, Bobby, at the end of the season, so we don't have to worry about Sancho. Højlund. Now, I'm in Napoli at the moment, as people know. I'm in Naples, and the word is that it might be difficult for Napoli to acquire Rasmus Højlund's services. Now, as much as people like to beat around the bush and big up themselves, they can't afford him. And that's the biggest problem, isn't it? They can't afford him. It's all mouth, no talk. All mouth, no action. And Højlund is a difficult one. We would receive about 40 million for Højlund, but if Napoli can't afford him, then where do we go with it at the end of the day, guys? It is a difficult one. Of course it is. It is a difficult one, but we'll have to wait and see what happens in regards to that. And what Rasmus needs to do is Rasmus needs to score some goals. In regards to, of course, Rashford will be coming back to Man United. Barcelona are stingy as hell, basically, and they're not going to purchase Rashford. I've already come to the conclusion they're not going to purchase Marcus Rashford. He hasn't done phenomenally well. He's done okay. I know there's lots of sound bites and video bites about Rashford doing this, Rashford doing that. But when have we heard about Rashford this last few months? Like I said earlier, have we heard anything from Rashford? Nothing in particular, have we, at the end of the day? Nothing has been out there about Marcus Rashford. Did you see that goal for Marcus Rashford? Did you see that assist for Marcus Rashford? You don't see anything like that these days. He's done okay. And that's it. And it's not enough for Barcelona to say, right, we're going to slap down 60 million on Marcus Rashford. It's not that. They're going to be concentrating on other players. Of course, Marcus Rashford's going to want to go to Barcelona. He likes it there. But you know what? The characteristic, what's been confirmed, is that Marcus Rashford is what he is. He's a sometimes player. Sometimes he's on it. Majority of the time, he's not on it. And I think that's the problem with it. And I would like to think that Barcelona will pull out the P's to sign Marcus Rashford. But I don't think they will. I really don't. I think we'll end up loaning him out to another football club, in my opinion. I don't think he's going to come back to Man United and play. That's one thing. But then we need to think about Onana as well. Let's not forget about Onana. Onana's another player that Man United have not sold yet. This is what we're talking about. This myth about Ineos selling all these players. They're on loan. They're coming back at the end of the season. This is the thing. And then we're going to be stuck with these problems. And this doubles down on the fact that we need to do business in January because we got so much business to do in the summer. And added to the fact that we got the World Cup as well, it's going to make it even more difficult for Man United to do business in the speed that we want to do it for next season, of course. Bobby, it's hard to move players on at United, it seems. It is difficult. There's a whole number of reasons behind that in regards to players. Just not. I mean, we have overrated a number of these players, and some of these players are just simply not good enough, And Rasmus Højlund's done very well very well at Napoli. I think he's done fantastically well at Napoli. But the thing is that has he done well enough for them to pay the fee? We have to understand that teams like Napoli are not blessed with a huge windfall of money. And they're going to be looking at things objectively and think that, you know what, is it worth signing Rasmus Højlund? Is it worth it? Can we get someone cheaper from Serie A who can do the same thing? And that's what they're going to think. Now, I like to think that they stay loyal to their word and they sign Rasmus Højlund. And Rasmus Højlund goes to Napoli and we're all happy, happy days. Rashford and players like that, you can't change the leopards on the spot, to quote Roy Keane, of course. And Barcelona and whoever plays Rashford, including Aston Villa, know what Rashford is. And Rashford is a bit part player. He's a player that can sometimes turn it on and look like the best player in the world, like he did against Newcastle a few months ago. But he can also turn it on and look like the most overrated player in the world. And I think that is what Rashford's problem is. And then Barcelona obviously are going to be left in a conundrum where, you know what? Oh, should we keep him? Should we sell him? What should we do? Blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? Samuel, Mastantuano would fit well in Manchester United midfield. I agree, mate. 100%. I agree. Aiden Heaven is amazing, mate. Absolutely. Maz, he hasn't been bad, just average. Absolutely. Big up, my friend. A real revolutionary goes where he's needed. Big up. Bruno Fernandes should pack his bags to Al Hilal. Now, guys, will Al Hilal want to pay the money? Of course, there was rumors about $100+ million deal to go to Al Hilal in the summer. And as Bruno Fernandes said, if he was not wanted, he would have went to Al Hilal, of course. So, you know what I would say about that? We should have done the deal and done the business there. Now the ball is in Al Hilal's court. They look at it and think, you know what? He's a year older. Should we pay a little bit? Should we pay that money or shouldn't we pay that money? And I think they're going to be looking at that, of course, as well. It's going to, it's not a given now, Thank you so much, Sanjay. Guys, let's get to 50 likes before the end of the show. Very, very important, guys. We get to 50 likes. If you guys can do that for me, that would be absolutely fantastic. Nani was a legendary player, to me at least. Look, Nani was a substitute at Man United, but what a substitute. And you're looking at squad. You're looking at squad, and you're looking at squad depth. Nani epitomized squad depth. That's what it epitomized. Just like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did, just like Teddy Sheringham did, just like Henenberg did, just like David May did. All these players epitomized squad depth and how important squad depth is. And Nani, right now, would walk blindfolded into that Man United team, 100%, And that just goes to show you levels, how good Man United were back then, of course. I'd sell Rashford to 20 million. My uncle said Lee Sharp was a playboy. I know a lot about Lee Sharp. I know some of his mistresses, of course, I should say. I know a couple who I approached Lee Sharp once. I know Lee Sharp, of course, and I approached Lee Sharp once and I said, Lee, do you know this woman? Because guys, I used to do obviously music, and in 20 years I was in music. I went to a lot of celebrity football matches. One of those celebrity football matches was at West Ham United, the old bowling ground, Upton Park, and the organizer of the tournament, I'm not going to mention her name. We went back to her place after the celebrity football match. A few of the celebrities went back to her place because obviously, she was driving and stuff, and she couldn't drive us all back, and a lot of us were wasted. So what it was, we went back to her place, and I saw a picture on her bedside table, and it was Lee Sharp, And funny enough, scroll back a few years later, I'm at Wembley Stadium for an England game, and I bump into Lee Sharp. I say, "It's Lee, do you know blah, blah, blah?" He goes, "Yeah, I know her. I've got a photo of Lee Sharp on my Twitter, by the way. And I go, yeah, I know her, yeah. And he's looking at me like he's confused. How did you know that? Shush. Basically, that's what he's doing. It's so funny. You know what I mean? Lee Sharp was a little bit of a playboy, but you know what? He was a fantastic player, and that's all that matters, of course. You know what I mean? Apparently, wants Rashford, but for way cheaper, for 25 million. So as I said, it's up to Man United, isn't it? What do Man United want to do? Do Man United just want to cut their losses and sell Marcus Rashford? Or do they want to, dig their heels in and say, no, 60 million or nothing, Absolutely. Halal must pay that money. Let's hope so. Marcus Rashford should be sold to Tottenham as a replacement for Heung-min Son. Will Tottenham want him, though? That's the thing. Tottenham are doing their things, guys. Big up, Georges. What's going on, my friend? I hope you're doing well. Nani was great. His only problem was being inconsistent. The reason he was inconsistent is because he had inconsistent performances, Georges. You know what I mean? For some reason, Nani looked better when Ronaldo was still there. Yeah, but the problem is that, I think he looked good when Ronaldo left. But the problem is that people were so used to Cristiano Ronaldo, anyone who came into that football team wouldn't look great. Because we already had the levels in our head of Cristiano Ronaldo and stuff like that. Cristiano Ronaldo was a next level, you know what I mean? And Nani coming in was a fantastic player. But the thing is that, what I would say is that Nani was a fantastic player, but was not Cristiano Ronaldo, but would walk into our side right now, of course. Absolutely. Go on, babe. I'll put the thing on. Yeah. Right. Are you? Yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm still here. There you go. There we go. Yeah. Sanjay, Lee Sharp scored a beautiful goal against Barcelona. Yes, I remember it, Sanjay. I was there, and it was a back heel. And Sharp 2-2 was the score. And back in them days, it was difficult, obviously, because Man United could only play a quota of foreign players, and Man United had to play British players, and it was difficult. But I remember that game very well. Romario was fantastic, of course, guys. Absolutely a brilliant player. But Man United were it was difficult to... a very, very good Man United team. We couldn't excel to the levels that we wanted to excel because obviously the foreign quota at that time in the Champions League, and Man United probably would have had more Champions League. Do you know what I mean? But Lee Sharp, back heel, 2-2. I remember it, Sanj. Good that you mentioned that. Big up yourself. I loved Nani so much, man. And Nani was great. I loved that football team so much. I really did. I did love that football team. I really did, guys. It was a great football team. It was a great time to support Man United, because every single time we walked into a game, in particular in 2008 and that, in particular in those days, you just felt that Man United were going to win the game. You just felt that Man United had got it covered. You just felt like, there's no way that you know what I mean? I remember us going into a game, guys, against Aston Villa, and we just smacked them up by 5. It was like nothing. It was like, you know what I mean? Just nothing. It was like, yeah, we're expected to do this, We had such a great team. We had Hargreaves, we had PK on the bench. You know what I mean? We had Wesley Brown on the bench. We had, you look at that team and you think about Rooney, but you think about Rooney, Ronaldo, and Tevez. What a front three. What a complimentary front three that was, guys. An absolutely incredible front three, of course. An absolutely brilliant thing. And then obviously we had Ryan Giggs and Paul Scholes in there. Cristiano Ronaldo, Roy Keane. We had a very, very, very good team. Owen Hargreaves was extremely underrated as well, in my opinion, when he played for Man United. Michael Carrick, another one, of course, who played for Man United during that period. Anderson was another one who played for Man United, who's underrated, in my opinion, as well, what he did at Man United and stuff. Very, very good. Ronaldo, Tevez. I mean, I do not know, Samuel, any front three as scary as that. To this day, it's still the best. In my opinion, in history of football, in Premier League football, it's the best, probably European football. What a front three. What a front three. And the thing about that front three, Rooney, Ronaldo, and Tevez, is the fact that they complemented each other so well. We had the grit of Tevez. We had the absolute phenomenal world-class generational ability of Ronaldo. And then we had Rooney. What a front three that was, guys. Absolutely. Parchi Song, absolutely Nasser. Power Lungs, of course. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Parchi Song was an absolutely fantastic player. Really, really good player. And really highly underrated as well. Went under the radar a lot, But what a squad player he was. What a player he was to bring on, I remember going to Man United against Liverpool way back in 2009, 2010. Either 2011. And Man United won 2-1. And Torres scored the first goal. I was right behind on the front row of the Stretford end, and I remember the cross came in from Kite and Torres done some fantastic header, went in the back of the net. I was right there. But the goal that won the game, obviously, it was a goal of, what typified Jason Park. The cross came in and Jason Park risked it all with his head, right? He could have busted his head. And he got the header in to make it 2-1. I remember that. And I was right there and I saw how difficult that header was. And it really goes under the radar. It really does go under the radar. And so does Jason Park. And what an engine he had as well. What a player he was. Do you know what I mean? I would say about that at the end of the day, guys, absolutely. Guys, thank you everyone for joining me today. I really appreciate you all. Not as good, mate. Not as good. Not as good. Sorry, but not as good. Man United played Barcelona with Ronaldo, Tevez, and Rooney once. And Man United won over 2 legs, home and away. I would say that for me, Ronaldo, Tevez, and Rooney was the best. I think those 3 complement each other. Suarez can go and bite someone's ear off. He was overrated. Messi, only played with... Because let me tell you something about Barcelona. Let me just clarify something about that Barcelona team. That Barcelona team was not Messi. That Barcelona team was Busquets, Iniesta, and Xavi. That was that Barcelona team, guys. That was that Barcelona team. Without those three, there's no Barcelona. I'll tell you that right now. Guys, thank you, everyone. Guys, don't forget to join me on the watch-along. Crystal Palace against Tottenham. I will be doing that watch-along live, guys, for you guys. So please join me for that. Be absolutely fantastic if you guys can join me. I really appreciate you all. Thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new. Don't forget to smash a like on the video. All that jazz. We need to get to 50 likes, guys. Great show. Thank you, Bobby. Big up yourself. Have a great day, everyone. Join me for the watch-along. I'll see you there. We're going to have a nice little chill-out watch-along, guys. Take it easy. And if I don't see you, enjoy your day anyway, guys. Take it easy. I'm Sal Warner. This is Chatterbox. See you soon, guys. Peace.